In Guinea, lawyers for former military leader Moussa Dadis Camara said on Thursday he will appeal this conviction on Wednesday for crime against humanity. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison on charges stemming from 2009 massacre of more than 150 people during a pro-democracy rally in the capital Conakry. Demonstrators at the stadium were protesting against Camara's plans to run for president when soldiers opened fire on them. He had taken power in a coup the previous year. Camara fled the country after surviving an assassination attempt not longer after the massacre, but returned from exile in September 2022 to face justice, insisting that he was innocent. More than 100 survivors and relatives of the victims testified in the trial that started in November 2022. Kenya and the Central African Republic have declared new outbreaks of Mpox as African health officials scramble to stem the spread of the disease in region lacking vaccines. Nairobi announced a new outbreak on Wednesday after a case was detected in a passenger traveling from Uganda to Rwanda at a border post in southern Kenya. The Central African Republic was the first to declare a new outbreak on Monday, saying it was spreading to its capital, Bangui. Mpox is a viral infection which can spread between people and occasionally from the environment to people via things and surfaces that have been touched by an infected person. In settings where the virus is presented among some wild animals, it can be also transmitted from infected animals to people who have contact with them. In Nigeria, thousands of mostly young people poured onto the streets on Thursday as they protested against the country's worst cost of living crisis in a generation. Security forces fired tear gas to disperse protesters in several places. In Abuja, where a court granted an order late Wednesday to restrict the protest to a stadium, Nigerian police officers were seen firing tear gas to disperse a crowd of protesters that gathered a few kilometers from their presidential villa. Nigeria's public officials, frequently accused of corruption, are among the best paid in Africa, a stark contrast in a country that, despite being one of the continent's top oil producers, also has some of the world's poorest and hungriest people.